It's just malpractice that Democrats suck at this so bad that we're allowing Donald Trump and Stephen Miller to run roughshod on what our government looks like.
True. What's shocking about this story is that it's coming from CNN's Bakari Sellers, who loves to run interference to provide cover for the Democratic Party and their failed leadership. But nonetheless, some rare criticism of Democrats in regard to their response to the first week of the new Donald Trump presidency, especially regarding the spending freeze and hiring, or firing, I should say, of inspectors general. Now, I should note that after Trump's OMB put out a memo indicating that federal grants and loans would be halted for a temporary period of time, a federal judge has weighed in and blocked them from doing that. But nonetheless, let's play the entirety of Bakari Sellers' rant on CNN to give you some more context.
We were told that this was going to be a different Trump administration, that you weren't going to have the chaos that we saw in the first one. But here we are again, and you're talking about the devastating effects of this on SNAP recipients, WIC recipients, federal aid and grant recipients. But Democrats apparently have been caught flat-footed, Jake, and that's the most disappointing thing. I mean, the House Democrats have a meeting tomorrow over something that's urgent today, and then we rolled out Chuck Schumer. I mean, I think that when you have institutions and places that are affected, we need to go to our constituents quickly. Those voices need to be up. 15, 30-second ads talking about how this affects them. My daughter actually receives federal grant money to go to Howard University. Benedict College, right down the street, 95% of their $65 million budget is from federal grant and aid money. The uncertainty, old folk who can't get Meals on Wheels, we don't need to hear from Chuck Schumer. We need to hear from people who are actually affected. And it's just malpractice that Democrats suck at this so bad that we're allowing Donald Trump and Stephen Miller to run roughshod on what our government looks like.
So look, I agree entirely with what Sellers said there, but just to give you a point of reference, he's referring to a press conference that Chuck Schumer and other Democratic senators held today in response to that Office of Management and Budget memo freezing federal grants and loans. So I want you to take a look at that so you get a sense of what Sellers is talking about.
Look, last night, President Trump plunged the country into chaos without a shred of warning. The Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds across the country. In an instant, Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars that directly support states, cities, towns, schools, hospitals, small businesses, and most of all, American families. This is a dagger at the heart of the average American family in red states, in blue states, in cities, in suburbs, in rural areas. It is just outrageous.
What?
Outrageous, I say. Jesus, man.
So Sellers is correct. And look, this is the problem that I had during the election cycle, Cenk. And I think a lot of people misinterpreted where I was coming from. On one hand, you have the Democratic Party constantly fear-mongering about the threat that Donald Trump poses. He's a fascist, he's Hitler reincarnated. But their actions seem to prove otherwise.
Yeah, they don't seem overly animated by it.
It's not just that they're not animated, they're inept. They don't act like, their actions don't make it appear as though they actually believe that Trump is a threat.
You know, every once in a while I hear people tell me that, oh, no, there's some really dynamic new Democrats.
Right, okay. Where
are they? So I don't care about your stupid seniority and your stupid etiquette in the Senate. You gotta get Chuck Schumer off of TV. The guy's a mess. We're not winning with Chuck Schumer. Anyone who's got the reading glasses on their nose like this, and like that. No, brother, you gotta go. And then I don't know who Amy Klobuchar was making out with on the side. Like you're just a mess. No, they look like their heads came together. I'm just playing Amy.
She looks annoyed throughout the whole thing, yeah.
No, look, just everything needs to be new. You know who they should put in charge? Bernie. Guys, it's not about, we're not gonna get anything passed. So establishment Democrats, don't catch feelings. I'm not going back to old wars, right? Just because Bernie would come out and be like, this is terrible. look at what they're doing to real people. And they cut off cancer research. Why'd they cut off cancer research? To help a bunch of billionaires. But Schumer doesn't have that passion because he loves the billionaires. So when he's talking about, oh, they're trying to help the billionaires, his heart's not really into it because that's kind of his job, right? So, okay, you don't want to go with Bernie. I don't know, put in the guy that just got there, Ruben Gallego. He's at least a young, dynamic Democrat. He just won the seat in Arizona. He's an interesting guy. He's super smart. Maybe he makes a dynamic case. Oh, no, wait your turn. You'll get to the podium 40 years from now. Look, after we're done with all the 80-year-old senators.
I don't know what to root for with the Democratic Party. I don't know what their identity is anymore. I don't know what they represent. I don't know what they want to accomplish. They have no leadership whatsoever. Gretchen Whitmer recently had an interview where she was asked, "Is there, who's the leader of the Democratic Party?" And she admitted there is no leader. Ro Khanna came on our show, admitted there's no leader. It is a leaderless party without an identity. It's aimless, unstrategic. I don't.
Okay, can I just give a piece of advice to any of those Democratic senators or congresspeople? You lead by leading. Just start leading. You don't have to get Chuck Schumer's permission. You don't have to get Hakeem Jeffries' permission. Just go on TV. Come on these shows, okay? I don't mean us, I mean everyone. Just go on the pod, go on everywhere and go, this is the Democratic agenda. And then you become the leader. Why is this so hard for you guys? What is wrong with you? Don't any of you have any goddamn sense? Don't you know a thing about politics?
No, they don't, and they don't care, okay? I long for the days of Elliot Spitzer. I don't care that he got his Johnson wet with a high-end escort, okay? He actually fought for the right things when he was in Congress. I know it's an old school reference. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But let's just keep it real. Who cares that he's?
See, that's why I always come back to Elliot Spitzer, because that's the Democrat who actually did something. And he went after the bankers who were robbing us, got billions of dollars back for us, and he was known as the sheriff of Wall Street. And they did a character assassination, caught him with a prostitute, and then the whole country flipped out. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Because once you do sex, they're like, ah! And every woman was like, no, we have to get rid of him. Let the bankers rob us because Elliot made a wrong decision.
He should have just denied it and been unapologetic like Trump. And
I know.
He would have gotten away with it.
If I had Elliot Spitzer's money, you know how hard I would have struck back at those sons of bitches? I would have found all the hookers they've been with. I would have outed every son of a bitch that came after me.
Let's be respectful to sex workers and not call them hookers.
Sorry. Okay. Whatever, okay? So look, I'm glad Bakari's doing the right thing there. It's apparently it affected him personally, but I'll take it. But what's interesting, and one piece of good news out of all this is that all the bad rules from the past are also breaking down, right? Some of the good rules are breaking down, but the bad rules too. Because just a couple of months ago, you couldn't go on cable news and criticize Democratic leaders. That literally never happened.
Yeah.
Like the Republicans might have, right? The Trump people might have, but Democrats and people on the left, you'd get your head taken off.
Way to find the silver lining, Cenk.
Yeah, and Jake Tapper didn't kill. Normally, Bakari Sellers would attack you if you attacked a Democratic leader.
That's exactly right. That's why it was surprising that he was willing to be as critical of Democratic leadership as he was in that segment. And I applaud him for that. Look, the only way the Democratic Party gets its act together is if they are forced into real self-reflection. They have been running away from that with the help, honestly, traditionally, of people like Bakari Sellers. So if he's willing to stop doing that.
And Jake Tapper,
yeah. So they need to accept that they've made massive mistakes. Otherwise, they will continue to be an aimless, leaderless, pathetic party that is unable to be a real opposition party to Donald Trump and the Republicans, period. That's what's happening right now as we speak. We can see it.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.